Hi, I'm Deb Roy. I'm a longtime safety professional with both corporate and consulting experience. I'm also a fellow of ASSP. I've been teaching the risk assessment 3-day course for several years, and in fact do consulting in risk assessment as well as total worker health and safety and health management systems. I'd like to discuss a case that uses a risk assessment up front, before the system is built versus after the risk has occurred, like we usually do. In this case, the company has about 10,000 employees. It's an outdoor retailer that is a global company. And they have a variety of risks. But as you can imagine, in many cases, the biggest risks in the organization were in facilities. This proactive risk assessment really allowed this company to anticipate potential exposures in a warehouse that was going to be undergoing major construction anyway. And they used prevention through design to construct a solution that significantly mitigated the risk. In this case, maintenance technicians use stepladders. And what they do is they access overhead conveyors probably 3 to 5 times per shift during most of the year, and even more during the peak time of the year in the fall. This includes for preventive maintenance, removing boxes or bags that get jammed, and minor mechanical adjustments. These tasks can take anywhere from about 10 minutes to 25 minutes to accomplish each time. And employees do receive ladder training, but no additional follow-up is done, no inspections are done, or any other evaluation of whether the work is being done the way the SOPs are designed. A 12-foot step ladder is commonly used. The potential risks in that case, if you think about it, falling 10 feet or more to a concrete floor means the credible consequence could include an employee suffering a concussion or maybe broken bones, in either case resulting in a disability or a fatal incident. And since the task occurred at least 3 times a shift for up to 25 minutes, the likelihood of that incident would be probable, as shown on this table. If we use the company's risk matrix, probable as a likelihood is plotted against catastrophic consequence. And since a credible scenario is a permanent disability or death with that fall from 10 feet or more, we end up with a likelihood of 4 and a consequence of 4. If we're using a semi-qualitative risk rating, it would end up being 16, just like you see in red on the risk matrix. This risk rating of 16 obviously isn't acceptable. It's in the red, according to the company's risk policy. That meant that they had to have immediate remedial action. And since the company determined that this high risk wasn't acceptable, they needed to do something different. And so they considered a whole variety of different treatments. Since construction was going to occur anyway, they decided to design and install catwalk platforms and a handrail system so that stairs could be used to access the overhead conveyors. And of course, we all know that's an engineering control. And they also added training that we would consider an administrative control. Using that same risk matrix, the platform and stairs, once they were installed, resulted in a new risk rating that would be about a 4, which was medium. The consequence in this case doesn't change, because if you think about it, if the work is being accomplished at height, we don't change the energy. So that hazard, and therefore risk, still occurs. The company really considered the new risk with the treatment applied to be acceptable. If we think about what the benefits to the company would be in this case, it's more than just safety. The safe platform and stair design did indeed prevent the frequent risk of falls. But it also demonstrated the caring nature of the company's culture and the core values. They really considered those employees as they thought about the updates to the warehouse. And all of this improved the operating uptime since jams were easier and quicker to access and solve. It also reduced the operating costs and improved the overall risk profile for that organization. So although this solution was initially more costly, major construction was already planned for the warehouse anyway. And the reduced operating costs from the improved efficiency and obviously the conveyor uptime, along with the lack of a catastrophic workers' comp injury and the cost associated with that, quickly showed a high return on investment. The key really is that the safety team was involved really early on in the planning process. And it was less expensive to plan for and reduce the risk beforehand. And realistically, the new system was more productive. That's a win-win.